Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Hello, beautiful people joining us visually and those listening to the sound of our voices. I am Tosin Richard, the host of I Love My HBCU ? And you're going to tell in a second that I am excited. I am excited because this is a first. It is our very first Oakwood University student on the episode and on the podcast. Matthew, I'm going to let you do a quick introduction of yourself.
Right. Well, from the OU, we bleed blue and gold. From Huntsville, Alabama, I am a rising junior theology major, and I will be serving as the 11th Mr. Oakwood University. That's me.
I love it. I love it. So before we hit record, Matthew and I, of course, were talking, and I don't care if I get judged for this. I'm perfectly okay with it. As much as I should know where every single HBCU is located, for whatever reason, my brain keeps telling me that Oakwood is in Arkansas, and I don't know why.
Arkansas.
Of all the states for me to give it, it's so random, Matthew. It is so random. Matthew, there are, I'm not good with numbers. Anyone who's listened to this podcast knows don't trust Tosin with numbers. But there are, if not the most, I think Alabama has got one of the most HBCUs in that state. Like, you guys have a lot of HBCUs in Alabama. Honest question here then. Oakwood is not one of the more notable HBCUs. And when I say notable, let me be clear what I mean, because listen, let me clear it up. Oakwood is mighty. I have, with my students and Oakwood University students, we've matched up at different competitions and Oakwood has beat us several times. I'm perfectly okay saying that. So Oakwood is mighty. Let me be very, very clear. But when we rattle off names of HBCUs, I don't hear Oakwood making the list of HBCUs that a lot of people rattle off. So my question to you is, how does it feel to be in a state with a lot of HBCUs, but when we hear of many of the HBCUs in your state, Oakwood's name isn't one of the ones we hear first? You are the incoming Mr. Oakwood University, which means you serve officially as its ambassador. Yeah. What does that feel like for you, that yours is not the most recognizable name?
Right. I was actually studying this the other day. I know that Alabama has the most HBCUs, so big up Alabama. I think it's 14. Don't quote me, but I think it's 14. And I just think you have to look at the other HBCUs in our state. Like, we have A&M. They're literally about to expand onto another campus. We have Tuskegee. We have these schools that you think of when you think of like civil rights movement, right?
Yes.
And I think it's because our HBCU is the only Adventist HBCU. If people don't know what Adventism is, it's a Christian denomination, but it's one of the smaller ones. It's not like Baptist or Pentecostals. It's a smaller Christian denomination. So because of that, when people are thinking about HBCUs, they're thinking of more of the public ones, the ones that are not necessarily Christian, the ones that we accept anybody, whether religion, gender, whatever it may be, but I just think it has to do with the Christian part, and then also it being smaller. We have maybe like between 1,500 to 1,700 annually, but it's not because we haven't been there for a long time, since 1896. That's over 120 years. So we definitely have the longevity. I just think we haven't done as good of a job as we can on exposing ourselves on the national scale, but things are starting to rise. So I'm pleased with that.
Nice. I'm glad you mentioned it. So when myself and my producer were speaking, we wanted to record Matthew on a different day. And when Matthew said he couldn't do this day, I proudly was the only one that knew why he could not record on that particular day. And it has a lot to do with the religious denomination under which Oakwood University proudly is a flag bearer. So I'm also proud that you mentioned that, because again, these are tidbits that, as somebody who goes to Oakwood University, you know it. Outside of Oakwood University, most people actually don't know it. So if there are, I like to do plugs for every single HBCU. And again, I'm beaming ear to ear because you are my first Oakwood University guest. If there are students thinking about an HBCU in Alabama and they want a smaller, more private, and a Adventist slant on their experience, Oakwood University is calling your name in Alabama. How was that pitch? How on a scale of 1 to 10, what grade would you give me for that pitch?
It's getting there, but I think the main I think the main thing would be our music program. It's elite. We have there's a girl who's a freshman right now, and her dad is in a group called Take Six. If you haven't heard of Take Six, they've won 11 Grammys. They are the greatest a cappella group to ever exist, pretty much.
Facts upon facts.
They've performed for presidents and just traveled around the world, and they're still performing decades later. There's also Whitley Phipps. He went to our school. He's performed for 6 U.S. presidents. He has this amazing bass voice. There's a video on YouTube of him performing at Carnegie Hall. So all of these musical greats are coming out of Oakwood, and we go crazy with music at Oakwood University. So I think if anybody is really inclined with their voice or instruments, this is a place for you.
So now I know. Yeah. I know why he's like, I'm getting there. But to be fair, you are there and I'm not. So if we combine both of our prowess, I think I'm giving us a 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did a good job.
Okay. Okay. Matthew, Oakwood 1869, you said, right?
1896.
1896. Did I not tell you earlier on that I suck at numbers?
It's okay.
I literally just screwed that up, but that's me with numbers. You're going to give me a pass. Okay. All right. So I want to throw our starting 67. I've never called it starting 67 before. I just call it the rapid fire segment. 67 seconds on the clock. And I'm going to throw as many questions to you as possible. For kicks and giggles, though, I love to ask people, why do they think we do it in 67 seconds instead of 60 seconons?
67. Maybe you're making space for the and ahs, the thinking. No, not that?
No.
Okay, I'm totally lost. You're going to have to tell me.
So it's the year that the most HBCUs were founded. 10 HBCUs were founded in 1867. So we pay homage to that founding year. That's it. Corny, but I kind of like it.
Thank you. I got that history lesson. Love
nice. All right, Matthew, time's on the clock.
Let's do it.
Ooh, you got time to think about this. You're at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
Ooh, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. This is the third. I need to go back and count. This is the third or fourth Michael B. Jordan. Okay. What's the best meal at your HBCU?
Soul Food Wednesday.
Soul Food Wednesday. Ooh. You have to be honest.
Yeah.
What's your unpopular opinion? Either about your HBCU or HBCUs in general?
I feel like Hampton and Howard fight for the real HU thing. It's just, come on. Y'all are both great schools. The school by the sea, the Mecca, just get along.
Get along. We do, though. I'm a Howard alum. We get along. It's all faux fighting. Okay. Anyway, shout out your favorite professor.
Shout out. Ooh. Dwayne Cheddar.
Dwayne Cheddar. What does Dwayne Cheddar teach?
He's in the communications department. He helps me with my morning show.
Okay. Matthew, I've got a few choice words for you. However, How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Um, Joyful, charismatic, and friendly.
So charismatic was one of my choice words for you, honestly. All right, I was just told that my time is up, but I want to take the liberty to ask one more question.
Of course.
I'm sure you're going to get many opportunities to have a conversation with your president, the president of your university. What's a message you haven't shared yet with the president of your university that you are looking forward to sharing with them?
I would love to just Dr. Pollard, that's my boy. Love that guy. But I would love to just share with him some tips about branding himself for the 21st century, for our generation. I'm really big into comms and PR and whatnot. So I just think he could really hop on some TikTok trends. He could really hop on some challenges, social media challenges that would really help him to be more relatable and for the student body to take more hold of him.
So Matthew, and I'm going to say this so that your president hears it. So I shared with you earlier on, my academic home is Morgan State University. Proudly Morgan State University. Our president is, we actually do call our president when I say we, some of us, not all of us, but some of us, and not just on campus, but outside of campus as well. So with alumni and so on and so forth, we call him the HBCU publicity president. Like, he's Mr. PR. So go look him up. David Wilson, David Kwabena Wilson, President David Kwabena Wilson. Look him up and you'll see exactly what I mean. And the reason why I want to put that out there is I hear statements from a lot of Matthews in the world where they do say they do wish that their presidents were a little bit more, forward facing with regards to a positive public relations persona, because that also it engenders goodwill for your university. It really does. And I think it's President Abdullah. I don't want to say Abdullah, and I shouldn't get this wrong, but the president of Virginia State University is another one that I'd say, hey, I think they should look at these presidents. There's something about the relationship that these presidents end up building with their student body also because of that PR. So you said it's Dr. Pollard?
Yeah, Leslie Pollard.
Leslie Pollard, you will be in good company when you hear Matthew's tip for you that it works, and your students love you even more for it. Okay, Matthew.
Yeah.
Guys, Matthew, I'm about to put you out there for 2 seconds. Is that okay?
I don't know.
He's like, I don't know if this is okay. Yeah. If you don't like it, we can cut it out, I promise. So again, before we hit record, I had asked Matthew where he was from. Mm-hmm. And Matthew gave me all of these lovely states. But if you listen to Matthew's intonation and articulation, I was like, sir, there's some Caribbean flavor in there, or some island flavor in there. And you kindly told us that you are a proud son of an Antiguan mother. Yeah. And see my brain? Haitian father, Antiguan mother and Haitian father. I share all of that in real life because you ended up in Alabama for college at Oakwood University. I want you to tell us the journey. How does the proud son of an Antiguan mother, Haitian father, born in Florida, end up at Oakwood University? Tell us your college selection story.
How much time do I have to share that? I won't make it long, but you want a 30-second response, or you want the journey? You know what I'm saying?
I want the journey. Tell us the journey.
All right. So my mother came to America when she was college age, so 21. My father moved from Haiti to Brooklyn, New York when he was 7. So they came at different points. So my mom is very much still Caribbean. My father is a little bit more Americanized. He had more time in the States in his formative years. So anyway, one thing that my parents both shared is the value of education. In Antigua, there's a lot of colorism. So if you're not more light skinned, then you have less opportunities than someone who's dark skinned. As you can see, I'm dark. So my mom
You're
is similar.
beautifully dark.
Oh, this is a picture of my mom. I don't know if the people will be able to
Hi,
see.
Mom.
Yeah, that's perfectly placed.
Yes.
So yeah, they both really emphasize education. So we only went to public school in kindergarten. I hated public school. I would cry most days on the bus coming home because I don't know. It was a really like it's a cutthroat environment. Yeah, even in kindergarten, get bullied and whatnot. So they put us in private schools. The thing is, with these private schools, we were living in we still live in the suburbs of Atlanta. So the private schools they wanted us to go to were 40, 50 an hour away from home. So this is like little kids waking up at 5, 6 a.m. every morning, you know, getting to school for 7, 8 o'clock, coming back home at 8, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. every night. So if you can imagine, our life, first grade through eighth grade, my brother and I, is just eat, sleep, school, church. That's all we did. They even like gave us a break on doing chores because they were like, you need to have A's, you need to have extracurriculars, this, that, and the other. And I'm thankful for it. Having all that academic focus has helped me in life. But after high school, I ended up going to a boarding school, a private boarding school in Georgia, North Georgia. And it's not a military school. It's not because I was a bad kid and they wanted to ship me off. No, it was just some of my friends were going there, and also it's a school that's related to our church. So I wanted to be in like that spiritual environment still, to keep my faith as I was growing up. So I did that ninth grade to 12th grade. Amazing time, incredible experience. It was a mixed environment. So before we get to college, this is very important to see because there's something that happened at the beginning of college that will make sense based on my background. So my first school was a mixed public school. That was kindergarten. Then I went to another mixed interracial school for first grade to third grade. Fourth grade to sixth grade, black school. And then I went to another black private school, seventh grade to eighth grade. I go to GCA, Georgia Cumberland Academy, and it's like 40% white, 30% Hispanic, 20% black, 10% other around there. So, pretty diverse. And then I was planning to go to a school called Southern Adventist University in Tennessee, another church-related school, another school where literally pretty much 50% of our graduating class was going to go. But then I just couldn't shake this feeling that I needed to go somewhere else. And every time I made up 100% of my mind, I'm going to Southern, they're giving me full tuition, like all of these scholarships, I need to go to Southern. I always felt like this pulling, like, no, you have to go somewhere else. So, I'm a man of faith. I prayed about it. And I just felt like I needed to be at Oakwood University. So I arrive at Oakwood, right? And I hate Oakwood at the beginning. I hated Oakwood. And I look back at pictures on my phone and like, it's literally me on Snapchat with like, I put like a caption, hashtag free Maddie from OU. It's just hated University. Did not want to be there. Wanted to go to Southern. Wanted to transfer. I was just so alone. Like literally, new student orientation. When like all of these kids are going to parties, and yes, they still go to parties at church schools. I probably shouldn't say that, but college students are going to be college students wherever they're at, right? So people are going to parties. People are, going to all these bonding activities with your class of 26. Woo, let's bond. And I was in my room, solidly in my room, was not coming out, was not making any new friends. And I remember I'm a little bit of an overachiever. So I still had to audition that first week of college to be a part of something called consecration. It's like a Friday night program where we just kick off the school year. Everybody gets together for like this big program. And I wanted to be a consecration speaker. Only 2 people from our freshman class could do that. So I auditioned, I got the part, and listen to us. I get up there and I said some crazy stuff, man. I just didn't understand Black culture to the way that I should have understood Black culture. So like I had made a joke, I had made like some stereotype about culture, and it didn't go off well. Like
Yeah.
maybe if I was Mr. Oakwood University at that time and I made that joke, people would already know, oh, that's Matthew, he's just being like that.
Yeah.
But think about it. This person who dresses in more of what people think is a white fashion. This
Okay.
person who talks more like what they expect a white person to sound like. They just figured, okay, is he like racist? Is he like, what
Oh, wow.
is this guy about? Like the first impression was not the best. So not only do I not want to be at Oakwood University, two, make a terrible impression on my class literally the second day that we were on campus. So I was like, oh my goodness. And then I followed up the next day by saying something else. This is this is really off the record. Well, I guess it's not off the record. I'm just exposing myself.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So there was a Caucasian girl that went to our school, and I had become friends with her like really quickly that first week of school. And I made a joke about, oh, her name's Annie. I was like, oh, Annie's invited to the cookout, and everybody was laughing like they thought that was funny. But then I didn't understand like them laughing was them agreeing with me, like, oh, that's cool, that's funny, or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm standing up front of a crowd, and I'm like, guys, like, let's not be offensive. Like, let's not laugh at these things. I just said something like to just kill the energy in the room, and everybody's like, why is this guy
He
so
doesn't get it.
sick? He
Yeah.
doesn't get it. So I just didn't really feel like I was one of them. So that's how I ended up at Oakwood. And trust me, I redeemed myself. I ran for student government that first month of school. I became freshman senator, which was like president of our class. So don't ask me how I went from being like the most hated guy in our class to becoming basically the president of our class within the span of a few weeks. God's plan. But
I know I was going to ask. But I'm sure it took a number of different things happening that got you there. I listened to you and I love that story. I love that story. But here's why I love that story. I tend to run into a lot of people that have stereotypical viewpoints of the type of student that ends up at an HBCU. And anyone listening to your story should get at least one thing. Every type of student is welcome at an HBCU, regardless. Regardless. So I'm going to be nosy. You know the question I'm about to ask, right?
Yeah.
You can guess. Where's Annie now?
She left our school after freshman year. So.
Oh, wow. And so you mentioned she left your school after freshman year. What made Matthew stay?
What made me stay?
Yes, because you've just described an interesting series of events in the first year that could easily get some students to say, this is not a good fit for me. And because this is not a good fit for me, I'm transferring. You already had a full ride at another institution even before you selected Oakwood. So what made Manny stay? Because you are the incoming Mr. Oakwood for the 2024-2025 academic year. What made you stay? Because this is home for you now. What made you stay?
Yeah. Well, for one, I couldn't transfer that first semester or that first year because, I was in student government. So I figured, okay, like I can't just resign and go to another university. That's crazy. I think we have these worship programs on Friday night. It's just to like end the year. Not end the year, end the week. It's called AYM and AYM Release. So the program is literally student run, student led. It's a dark church with like spotlights or just mood lighting. And it's just a time for students to sing. At our school, we're really big about music, as I said. So we sing a lot, like all of the gospel classics. We really get into that gospel, you feel me? So we sing all the gospel. We like pray, we talk with each other, we support each other. So just having that supportive environment every Friday night. Like I could be at a party, I could be here or there. But being able to be around people who like care about me, who love me, I never experienced that kind of love, that kind of community before. So just having that community of people who wanted to see the best for me, I really appreciated that.
Is it fair for me to say that what I got as I was listening to you is Oakwood feeds your soul, and that's why you decided to stay? Is that an accurate summary?
Yeah, it does feed my soul.
Nice.
Nice. Wow. You got some experience.
Nice. Well, unsurprisingly to those at Oakwood, and I think for anybody that ends up I'm watching this and listening to you, you are a host in your own right. You have, like, seriously, am I allowed to say that you just thought up another show that you're starting very shortly? Yes.
Oh, we started it. We started it.
Okay. So
Crown
Crown
Talk.
Talk. Okay. Tell us about Crown Talk.
Look, guys, this is not actually my crown. I literally had to convince my advisor, shout out Dean Philip De Leon, the GOAT. I had to convince him to let me take the coronation crown. Like, this is the crown at the pageant where they're like, you are the new Mr. Oakwood University. And they're like, boop. This is that crown. Expensive crown. I cannot break this. I don't have that kind of money now. Anyway, I convinced him to let me take the crown home because I wanted to start a new show. The show is called Crown Talk. And literally, I won the crown March 31st. Between now and what is this, May 10, I have met every single Mr. and Miss University from around the country. So that's 130 plus of us. I've made it my goal to talk to every single one. I've just reached out, congratulated them, just like, this is me. I want to know you. I wanted to form that community amongst us. So I took all those people, 130 plus of us, Mr. Howard, Miss Spellman, Mr. FAMU, Miss NCAT, all of us, and even the lesser known schools. So we all came into a group chat, put us all in a group chat, and that group chat is so live. It's on Instagram. Everybody's just talking. So everybody's starting to bond. I like to see that. But after a while, I was like, okay, so I made a list of everybody. I know what town everybody's in. I know what university they are. I know their names. What am I going to do with all this information? Like, why did I spend hours and hours and hours of my life during finals week 2, like, getting this stuff? So I was like, Crown Talk. So this is a series. It's like 30-second to 45-second reels on Instagram. And I'll be like, hey, I'm Mr. Oakwood University. And then in our first episode, it's like, I'm Mr. Howard, I'm Mr. Dillard, I'm Miss Shaw. So, short intros. And then we go into, what does HBCU experience mean to you? Some people have said it's like a Beyonce concert, pure excellence. It's like a Kendrick and Drake diss battle. You never know what to expect. It's like a little out of pocket, but all love. So, we have these different short responses about the HBCU experience. In future episodes, it'll be like, are HBCUs still relevant? It may be, what for incoming freshmen? How do you become royalty? So we're posting these on HBCU Mr. and Miss, which is the main news hub for royalty life. And we also collab post them with each king and queen. So I'm happy to say, first episode, it's been about 20 hours since it's posted. We're almost at 14,000 views already. 6,000 to 7,000 accounts reached. So I'm happy to see it making an impact. The people are loving it. A lot of kings and queens have reached out and saying, hey, I want to get on your show. So I just love fostering that community and bringing people together.
I'm excited that we got to hear what it is, and we also got to hear what birthed it. Because that's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting when you said Crown Talk. And we didn't get an opportunity to dive into it before we started recording. I will be tuning in. It sounds exciting. It also sounds as if any person who is thinking about becoming part of the royal court at any one of the HBCUs should tune in as well. Speaking of royal courts, Matthew, because and I don't know if you've had this experience with non-HBCUs, but speaking of royal courts, what do you think the significance is of a Mr. or Miss at an HBCU? For those who don't have that experience, for those who are like, why do they do that? What is this prom king and queen again? What is the significance of that role? In your viewpoint, not just in the viewpoint of Oakwood University, in Matthew's viewpoint, why do you think it's significant? Mind you, I did not ask you why did you run. That's not what I'm asking. What's the significance? You got me.
I got you. I really think in a world where Black people, are minorities even, are being battered and bruised. I even just saw recently on the news, there was like another cop kneeling on the neck kind of situation, and the man dies. And it's like, we're past that, right? But I guess not.
I thought we were.
Thought we were. So in a world where we're battered and bruised, I think it's really an emotionally uplifting experience for these different HBCU campuses to be able to point to someone who looks like them, talks like them, goes to class with them, kicks it with them. That they're able to look to somebody and be like, that's royalty, that's what I want to be. That's what our ancestors were like. That's who I can be. It's good to have that kind of role model, somebody who, yes, has the glamour, but is also just an every man. Like, some kings and queens, they won't be a man or woman of the people. But for the ones that do, it's like, it really encourages students to seek more, to go for greater. So I think that's the importance of having one.
I'll leave it there. And I wish all of you collectively, I'm lucky enough to get to speak to a number of you. And I'm rooting for all of you. Quite literally, I'm rooting for every last one of you. My brain says, ask this question.
Go ahead and ask it.
I'm not going to. People are now going to wonder, what was that question she was going to ask?
I'm wondering that too.
I'm not going to ask that question. Maybe offline, I'll tell you what that question is that I was going to ask. You have mentioned, and I have actually also mentioned, quite a few things that Oakwood University gets right. Mm-hmm. What does Oakwood University get wrong, Matthew?
Ooh, what did we get wrong?
There's got to be something.
Should I talk about this?
Of course.
PR, man. PR. It's not that we don't try.
Okay.
We need to do a better job of celebrating our wins, celebrating our successes. Like, for example, we just won the Honda Campus All-Star Challenge for 2024.
Again.
Not
surprising, guys. I used to coach Honda Campus All-Star Challenge for Morgan State University. Oakwood is one of the GOATs. Let me just listen. Sorry, go ahead. Again.
So literally, I'm friends with people on the team, and that's $100,000 from Honda. There's not even like they're pro Black people. It's just like, this is a corporate thing, giving $100,000 to HBCU because their students performed well. And we beat, the top four was Oakwood, Howard, Spelman, and Morehouse. Like the three of the greats, you know what I'm saying? So we beat these schools, and we should be shouting this from the rooftops. Like,
yeah.
There should be like hype videos, and like, we have an article in Essence about this. We should be like, this article, sending out to all the alumni, like, put the world on blast, like, hey, like, we're here. But I just think that some of that energy that we could get from positive PR kind of falls through. And the school's starting to improve. We're starting to improve on that. But with any institution, there's always progress to make in terms of PR.
So yes to that. Here's something else I know, and there are a number of schools that do a great job at this. You don't have all of the resources at your institution to engender the type of public relations that you are speaking of that is necessary and will do Oakwood a lot of good. Oakwood has been in existence for over 100 years. You've got quite a few alumni. So I'm hoping the alumni hear us, and the alumni hear us say, we, more so Matthew, because I'm not from Oakwood, but more so Matthew and all the students at Oakwood, all the brilliant students of Oakwood. I've met them. I literally just told you they beat us at Honda Campus All-Star Challenge because that's how good the program at Oakwood University is. No shade whatsoever. Alumni can be your public relations in a very unique way that the administration, that the staff and the students won't always be able to. So this is a call out to Oakwood University alum. You've got your incoming Mr. Oakwood University, Matthew Dormus, who is crying out seeking those collaborations in order for the public relations at Oakwood to be stronger? Because I think that's a worthwhile cause to go down as part of your legacy, Matthew, to bring bigger public relations to Oakwood. But thanks for going there, because when I ask, some people are like, well, no, we get everything right. It's impossible for you to get everything right. It's just not possible. It's not possible for you to get everything right. You mentioned something earlier on, Matthew, that I appreciate, because it lets you know that even whether you choose to pay attention to it or not, we are barraged by happenings around us in the world. What is going on in the world that either sets your soul ablaze in a good way or dampens your soul? And it could be anything. I'm just curious what issues are on your mind, Matthew, that when you hear it, you're like, okay, there's hope here. We got this. And then the ones that because we're not always hopeful. Sometimes the things that we hear or see dampen us a little bit. Share.
I'm a really big proponent of youth are not the future, we are the now. And I don't even consider myself to be a youth. I would say I'm a young adult. And I don't know if I... Okay, so I'm not going to go into politics, like meaning left or right, but I'm just going to talk about the political scene in general. Like I said, I'm a theology major, so that's religion. And I also told you I'm into communications. But before I was theology, I was pre-law because I wanted to be a politician. I wanted to run for Congress, run for Senate, do that kind of stuff. And I just think it's just frightening to see that our top 3 candidates are all like 70s, 80s. Like my grandmother is 89. Like my grandmother cannot lead a country. I have a grandmother who's 90 and she lives by herself. She runs her own business. She still drives. So there are some elderly people who are more capable, but just in general, it's not if you're capable or not. Like Donald Trump, Biden, Kennedy, whoever it may be. I just think on the world stage, like it's nice to have somebody who's younger, somebody like a Barack Obama or a John F. Kennedy, somebody who's young, who can have kids in the White House, who can, have a dog, go on family vacations. Like it's just positive PR. It's like, why do we need somebody who's so old? That just really frustrates me. And I'm thankful that our first Gen Z congressman from Florida, Maxwell Alejandro Frost, he got to Congress. He got in there at 25, first one from Gen Z. So we're starting to see some progress, but I really think just on a political scale, like if our generation won't vote, if they won't run, we're just going to have a repeat of these elder statesmen at the end of their careers who are like, I still want that power. I feel like there should be more power transfers.
So I'm not going to take us down that hole. We could go there clearly, and we might be going there offline. But there are 2 things that I heard you say that I think are worth noting, and I think I have a follow-up question on one of them. One of the first things I heard you say was, and I might be restating it, please permit me to, just because you're capable does not mean you should. You mentioned your grandmother who is independent even at 90. And just because she's capable of so many different things, I'm one of those people that when I see an extremely elderly person on the road, I am kind to them, but I also say, should you be behind the wheel? That's just the honest to God truth. So I heard you say, just because you're capable does not mean you should. Again, I'm restating that. And then the other thing that I heard you say is, if the youth will not vote, there will be this consistent transfer, which leads me, consistent recycling of power, I guess is what I think you were saying, or how I took what you were saying, which leads me to a real question here. You're right. In 2024 in the United States of America, the 3 most visible candidates are above 70. Closer to 80, and in one case, older than 80. Is it you? I'm still going to call you youth. Is it you not being involved where's the problem? That's the question. Where's the problem? Is it them not relinquishing, or is it you not being involved? And is it that simple, or is it more nuanced than that? And if it is more nuanced than that, share one of the nuances with us if you don't mind.
I think it's us not being involved. Like, millions of us, tens of millions of us will hop on a TikTok trend. And like, for example, Made For You by Mooney Long. Beautiful masterpiece of a song. Like, it's such a viral social media challenge. The way that we can hop on and put steam behind the entertainment industry. The way that the whole, like, my entire generation is captivated by this Drake and Kendrick rap beef right now. The way that we can know
what it is.
Yeah, the way that we can hyper focus on entertainment, we don't hyper focus on politics. It's only people who are studying this for their major, or people who grew up in a household that's strongly one way or the other politically, who are super caring about this. Like, in the 2008 elections, you saw that. Like, a lot of young people came out to vote, and that's because Barack Obama and his team, they used a lot of social media strategies. They were the first to really hop on YouTube and that kind of stuff for campaigning. So this is not an endorsement of politics one way or the other. It's just,
of course,
strategies are strategies.
Yes.
So I just really think.
So Matthew, and I love my HBCU question mark. We have one of our initiatives called I have to say this. It's going to sound like I'm pitching for us, but we have an initiative called Generation Next Thought Leaders, and it is a summit that occurs every single year. We wrapped up 2024. It was mind-blowing. What I hear Matthew saying is there needs to be a hyper focus in understanding your involvement is necessary. That is what I hear, because I hear you making sure you're like, I don't want to really delve into the political side quite specifically, because, and I'm speaking for Matthew now, I think you're trying to separate your own personal politics from imposing on anybody else. That's what I'm hearing. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing. And I appreciate that. But what I also hear you say in your response, as you put the responsibility on your generation and their lack of involvement, what I also hear there is, but we can't be removed from this. We cannot be removed from this. So, Matthew, I look forward then to seeing your involvement with Generation Next Thought Leaders next year in 2025 in a good way, because what we do with that summit is bring the voices that need to be in the room. You said youth are not the future, they are the now. That could be the motto for Generation Next Thought Leaders Summit, because we want you to realize that as you hyper-focus on entertainment, for example, the reality is behind the scenes. The politics that you don't want to be involved in is involved in your life in every single way, whether you like it or not. Okay.
I like that. That's nice.
Well, Matthew, is there? Listen, Matthew, can you tell I've enjoyed this conversation? Because I have.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it too. Is there anything that, and granted, our audience is probably not going to hear this episode for a couple of weeks or so, but is there anything that I have not touched on that, Matthew, you believe the audience, you've left the audience with a lot of gems, including Crown Talk, let me tell you, but is there something that you're like, no, I believe your audience needs to hear this as well from me? Please share.
If you take away anything from Oakwood University, I would say the Oakwood University Aeolians, Aeolians. Remember that name. It's our touring choir, our literally world touring choir, 2017 Choir of the World. They won the choir games. It's like international choir games. You bring all these choirs together from around the world, and it was in Europe, and we won that. So I guess we hold the title Choir of the World, and performed at the White House as well. Like, really incredible choir, has albums out. even on social media, like they're starting their influencer journey, have grown from like 16,000 to 43,000 followers in like a few months. And so it's just beautiful music of all different genres. So I would say search up the Aeolians on social media. And
Aeolians, Aeolians, Aeolians. Okay.
that's that Oakwood gem for you. Very proud
I
of that.
love it. I love it. I love it. You keep bringing us back there. That's amazing. As in the musical history and prowess of Oakwood University. I'm going to be walking away going looking for Oakwood's music now. I'm being very honest with you because you just keep bringing us back there, and I'm sure Oakwood University is appreciative of you for that. End the episode for us, Matthew. Leave the audience with either one short phrase or word on why either you like your love, not like, either why you like, why do I keep going back to like? Why you love your HBCU or HBCUs in general.
My motto for life: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. At HBCUs, we go together. So I love the community that we have. That's all. Mic drop. Yeah.
That was so sweet. Oh my gosh. I think it is impossible for anyone who has listened to this episode or watched it not to go ahead and subscribe to I Love My HBCU ? And like this episode, not because of me, but because of Matthew Dormus, student, incoming Mr. Oakwood University, proud Oakwood University student. I have enjoyed every single second of this conversation, and I hope you, those watching and those listening, have enjoyed it too. And I hope I have also earned the pleasure of you tuning in next week when we'll have another amazing guest on our podcast. Yours in HBCU love, Matthew. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tessie.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.